Welcome to Are We Gonna Talk About It with Ty
and Taryn. It is a space where we have candid conversations surrounding
faith, marriage,
family, and ministry.
Here we go. All right.
Let's go.
Let's talk. Whatever Taryn tells y'all about something with her catching me on camera.
Nope.
On something, don't believe
it's
it.
It's going to be like a Love is Blind situation where we're going to roll the tape and let you see what you said on the camera.
The footage will conveniently be deleted.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Hey, y'all. Welcome to the show. Are we going to talk about it with
Ty and Taryn?
Say my name. Say my name.
Ooh, don't you do it. We are talking about marriage today. Well, relationships today. So, that might be appropriate.
Say my name. How y'all doing? Everybody doing good out there? Have you all been enjoying these episodes so far? I hope so. Yeah. Thank you all so much for the love that,
Absolutely.
You all have been just, showing us for this thing, just jumping out here. Mm-hmm. We in the deep end now.
Just jumping out. Just out here trusting God, huh?
Just out here trusting God.
Yep.
Being
obedient.
Being obedient. Pretty much. That's what we're doing here. And
Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already so that you can get notifications every single time one of these episodes, or even some of the shorts or some of the snippets that come out on all the platforms on, what's it called?
On the YouTube.
Yeah. Anywhere where you can stream these podcasts. If you don't see us on the camera, I encourage you to go to YouTube and check out the videos, because there's some faces that she be making.
Y'all know me. If you know me, I'm going to give a face. And it's just, I think a part of my makeup.
And that's awesome. Yep.
I have looks. Ooh, speaking of looks, this is going to be good. But before we get into today's topic, I do got to share y'all something funny that happened to me when I was doing my grocery shopping. So here I am checking out. Let me say that correctly. Here I am checking.
Just tell the story. Just tell the story.
So I'm in line and these guys were checking me out. That just sounds weird.
No. Just tell the story. Just tell the story.
These guys were checking me out, and the guy goes to put my potatoes in the bag, and he was asking. He was like, "Do you want your potatoes in the bag?" And I was like, "Yes, if you can." And so then he just proceeds to ask, like, "So what kind of potatoes you like?" And so in my mind, I'm like, "Oh, potato? What kind of potatoes? Well, I like sweet potatoes because they're healthy." And then the other guy who was with him was like, "Well, what size potatoes do you like?" And I'm like, "Oh, I like some of the small ones sometimes, But then they kind of cut me off and they were like, "No, what kind of potatoes? How you like your potatoes cooked?" Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, "Oh," he was like, "You like French fries?" I was like, "Yes, I love French fries. I like French fries."
Yeah.
And we kind of just laughed at it or whatever like that, and they were sharing what kind of fries they like. So, but when I get ready to leave, y'all, I had just a moment of embarrassment. It wasn't like, I don't know. I don't even know how to explain it, but I started thinking man, am I in step? It's is this real millennial thinking? Ask a simple question. Here they are asking me a simple question about the fries I like, and I gave a not so simple answer. "Oh yes, I like sweet potatoes because they're healthy," and da da da, my whole spiel. But then I felt like a smidget embarrassment. Man, I just made that whole conversation so difficult. But yeah. So Ty wanted me to tell you all that way because
because what did you share? You were saying that it's interesting that what were you saying that you gathered from that? It was interesting.
Just how we hear. How I heard them differently. He
said one thing, but you heard something
I heard
totally
it completely different. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So for most of the guys who are listening to this right now, please let us know in the chat. What I'm about to say, please let me know and confirm it. I could be wrong, but just let me know. What you heard was, these guys were checking me out, as in these guys were looking at me. These guys was watching me. These guys were about to try to game me, pick me up. They about to try to see if they see the ring on my finger, but it don't matter these days. That's what I heard. These guys are checking me out. I didn't hear these guys are checking me out. These guys are ringing up my groceries.
Yeah.
Right. I heard these guys are looking at me. And then so she's going on and she's telling the story about the potatoes. And she's like,
on a whole nother tangent
I'm
in
thinking
his
something
mind.
else. Just like, okay, so where is this going? So when she gets to the part and she's like, yeah, he asked me, how do I like my potatoes? I'm like, oh, yeah.
Where's this going?
Like literally out of my mouth, I was like, okay. And I don't even think she heard me say that because you're just telling the story. But in my mind, I'm just like, okay, this is different. This is a different angle. Like, how do you like your potatoes? Like, let's see where this is going. And then I'm thinking like, again, how you felt after you finished the story. I'm thinking like, wait a minute. I heard that totally differently.
Wait, what?
I saw something else playing out like in my head. I thought she was going to say, this guy asked for a number. This guy asked, are you committed in your relationship? Like, can we be friends? How do you like your potatoes? Because I can serve them up the way you like them, right?
Wow, you went there.
How many guys to ask how you like your potatoes?
Yeah.
Like, that's a weird question.
Yeah.
But anyway, I heard something totally different. Tis marriage
and today's conversation.
Listen, because you be saying one thing and I be hearing something totally different. We're built different. We see things differently. We experience things differently. Mm-hmm. We could be in the same room talking about the same thing or maybe watching the same movie and I'll be like, huh? What? Explain that to me, please. Yeah. And then you'll break it down. I'm like, that's not what I got from that. But yeah, that's how things go. But I think that's kind of fitting for some of the conversation today too.
Definitely.
Because in marriage, you don't always see things the same way.
Yeah.
And
before you even get to talking about it,
go for it.
You realize like there's some things that are irking me. There's some things that are frustrating me. And, I think we got to have a conversation about this and that part, that hard conversation when it's something that is weighing on you and it's, directed with your spouse or, your a friend. I mean, because it's not only a marriage also, but, or you realize that there has to be a conversation to happen.
Yeah. So, like, obviously, with hard conversations that you have to have, like, obviously, you see things differently, right? On your end, well, first of all, just kind of comb through what some of those feelings or thoughts are like when you got to have a hard conversation. And I'll preface it by saying this too, like, obviously, we're married and we're talking about marriage, but these are some of the same feelings you experience when you're at your job. You got to talk to your supervisor because you feel mistreated, you feel mishandled or whatever, and you got to have a hard conversation where you want a raise, and you got to have a hard conversation where you got to talk to a coworker, and it's just you got to
have a hard conversation.
He said, "Now I got to go talk. I don't really want to add this. I don't want to talk to him about like this is gonna be awkward. This is gonna be weird."
So
what are some of those
I think
feelings?
it's a combination of things, and I'll just give an example of one of our hard conversations. We're gonna let you all in a little bit into some of our dealings, but I think for me, there was this one time where I felt like we keep our house pretty decent. We do a good job with certain things, trying to keep things in place, trying to help and teach the children how we want to steward and manage our home. But I hit a point where I started to feel like it was like a level of just being too comfortable with where we were with our home and the upkeep of our home.
Nah, she ain't gonna say what she really want to say.
I'm trying to be pretty with my words.
No, we ain't gonna be pretty. This is the Are We Gonna Talk About It podcast. How she felt was, and I'm messing with you, but how she felt was, I got 2 kids,
facial expression,
and now I got a third grown kid, and I feel like I'm cleaning up for the 2. But this third one, I shouldn't have to clean up after him. He a grown man. So why am I having the same thing I'm telling the kids? Hey, put your shoes up. Hey, grown man, put your shoes up. Hey, kids, go clean up your closet. Hey, grown man, hang up your shirts.
But the reason I felt that way is because of what we had already discussed prior to marriage.
That's and
let me point that out.
That's a good point. That's important.
How we will divide the labor around the house. Who will do what, how we will work together. If you hadn't even had that conversation,
That's important.
You don't have really grounds to be upset. Or if you just assumed a certain role, then, you know, until you can go and have a conversation about who's doing what around the house and how we're going to work together, then, you know, you may not fully understand why I was feeling the way that I was feeling.
So I'll say this. So I talked to an older couple who they've established roles and responsibilities for their home, right? So somebody else comes into the house. This is actually a real story. I just don't want to share names. Somebody else much younger comes into the house, and the husband has left all the clean dishes out. I mean, all the clean dishes in the dishwasher. It's already been washed. He's left them in the dishwasher. But then he takes them out so they can dry a little bit better and leaves them on the counter, right? So the young person comes in and they say, he just took all the dishes out the dishwasher and just left them on the counter. They clean. Why didn't he take the extra step and put them up in the cabinets? Like, he could have did that little bit. And then the wife shut them down and said, don't you come in this house messing up what we've established. He already knows. He takes them out so they can dry, put them on the counter. And my job is to put them in the cabinets. He's done his job based on
what we agreed
what
on.
they agreed on and what they've already established. So it might not look the same for everybody. But again, that's important, because if whatever you've established, that's what you expect. That's good.
Ooh.
Whatever you've established, that's what you expect.
Yes.
So if you've not established anything, then it's safe to say all your frustrations are invalid. That's tough.
Yeah.
That's tough.
Yeah.
But if you have established it, then it's just like, okay, what I'm expecting is not unfair. It's not a false expectation. It's not too far-fetched. Like,
but I believe along
standard.
with that too. So yes, it is. So for that particular situation with me, it was like we had established some things of how we wanted to, you know, work around the home.
Yeah.
But you know, I will admit to saying like, okay, I in my mind was like, okay, we need to go to another level.
Yeah.
And that I think that was the part that was starting to like frustrate me, because I'm like, okay, we're doing good here, but we shouldn't just stay here. Like, what else can we do to manage in our home? And, you know, whether it's inside, outside, what are those things? And so I'm thinking that in my mind, and I'm like expecting that for you. And I was so frustrated, and I'm sure it was obvious just with the attitude in that time.
Yeah, for the guys who are married, if you've ever experienced your wife cleaning mad, and all of the married men know exactly what I'm talking about. If you've ever experienced your wife cleaning mad, she's mad at you.
Big mad. She's releasing her frustrations in the bathroom.
Yeah, so
and
this
on
is not
floor.
the moment. This is not the moment she's vacuuming mad.
She's in
the kitchen clanging stuff in the cabinet so that you can hear her down there. This is not the moment to say, what's wrong with you?
And to offer help at that point, it's just like,
no,
you've already.
At that moment, it's just like, babe, let's make some time to talk this evening.
So once it got to that point, and I will say, I acknowledge the fact that, okay, this is not okay. Like, for me to respond this way, this is not okay. I'm feeling frustrated. I don't like this weight. I don't like feeling like that. But I understand, okay, let me go and pray first.
Yeah.
One thing God showed me was like, okay, the things that I'm showing you that's sticking out to you, yes, some things, that's what I've graced you to do. But you still need to go and have a conversation with your husband about, you know, just where you are, your expectations for the home, you know, going to another level with how we keep our home and things like that. And so, like, I had to first go to the source and go talk to the Lord for me, you know, because had I not, I think I probably would have just been, you know, dumping a whole lot on him. And, you know, that's one of the things that I would encourage, like, go first, talk to the Lord and just get some clarity for yourself before you go have that conversation. But then after that, I felt at peace to say, okay, there's some things that, you know, we need to talk about.
Because in that, he might show you things, again, that you said that you are graced for.
Yeah.
So this is why it feels like you're picking up more weight. And in marriage, I don't think things are always going to be fair.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's not fair. Well, why I got to work this many hours a day, but she only worked this much? Why is it that I got to be out the house most of the day and she get to be in the house? Why is it that I got to cut the grass? I got to be out there for 5 hours just to make sure everything look good, but she inside doing nothing. It's not always fair, because sometimes if
or
you
just even,
because if you are grace, because there's always situations, whether it's health, whether it's physical abilities, whether it's income, you know what I mean, whether it's taking care of kids, there's always something to factor in. But for me, it's like what you said about God giving you a grace for certain areas. If you know that you do things much easier, smoother, better than your spouse, then sometimes it may be better for you to do it.
Yeah.
Point in case, when it comes to finance, we've talked about this all the time, and people who follow us maybe have heard it before, but for those who don't, for like when we compare how we finance, my budgeting like literally is just checking my bank account. Your budgeting is like, let's project for the next 5 years. So literally right now she's able to tell us, all right, 5 years from this date today, this is how much we'll have in savings. This is how much we'll have in the checking. This is how much we're able to invest. This is how much the mortgage will be paid down or will be paid off.
Hallelujah.
Right. But for me, it's just like, okay, this is how much came in this month. This is how much I have left for extra. So it would make no sense for me to take on finance. If that's something that you specialize in and something that you do better, actually, I'd be holding us back if I were to do it.
Yeah.
But that's not to say that I am not involved or can't be engaged.
Right.
Which is where probably another level of frustration comes in, where it's just like, I don't think you see me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I don't feel heard. I don't feel like you see what I'm investing or putting into this.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah. But getting back on, I know we kind of started talking about like division of labor. That can be a whole
It
episode,
absolutely can. Let's get back on topic.
Let's get back on topic.
So for me, one of the hardest conversations that I've had to have, I think as a man, one of the hardest things for you to say to your spouse, to your wife, to your girl is, I don't feel loved. I don't feel appreciated. I don't feel respected. I don't feel desired.
And you said that. Let's be clear.
And I said that.
You said that.
Right? But before I actually said it, I also went through all of those steps that you mentioned, which was, all right, let me pray about this thing. Because, well, actually, before I prayed, I was in my feelings. I was in my feelings.
So first comes feelings.
Yeah. I mean, that's what hits, that's what hits first. It's like,
don't be afraid of the feelings, guys.
It's like, I'm frustrated. Like, does she not know that I need this on a regular basis?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, not just, oh, I'm a man and he needs sex, but it's just like, no, like I have a drive, you know what I mean? And like, so I do need it, or maybe I need it more than what I've been getting it. Right. And not just on a physical level, but
Spicy.
then, but even on a level of, even if it's, just physical touch or just affection or just like,
the ways
man,
that
you
need to know that you're loved.
Yeah. And so, and men sometimes won't say that, but there are things that make them feel loved and or appreciated. Or for me, on a non-physical level, a simple thank you goes a long way. Hey, babe, thanks for doing that. I appreciate it. But there was a space and I don't know how long it went.
It was, I think, the same hard conversation though. When I was talking about what I felt like I needed.
It might have been
you were talking
because
about
because now I do remember some of it, because this is what it was. Because I felt like why should I go out of my way for you to make sure that you feel loved, you feel appreciated, you feel helped? I'm doing all of this and I don't feel like I'm getting nothing in return.
And in my mind,
I don't feel like I'm getting what I need.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So why should I keep on breaking my neck to make sure you have it when I'm not getting it? You know what I'm saying? Y'all, we talking real today. And
but the thing, I think from you sharing that, I felt like, okay, these are things that should be done anyway.
Yeah.
That's how I felt. I was like, this is not over and above. This is like bare minimum.
All right, so let's be more clear. So for me, it's like, and I've said this before. Well, let me just go ahead and say it. I said something along the lines of, I didn't say this directly to you. Mm-hmm. It might have been like in jest or in joking or kind of being sarcastic, but it was like, man, I ain't out here chasing other women. Mm-hmm. Like, you got access to my phone. I don't got no passwords. Like, I ain't sneaking around. Yeah. Like, you don't got to worry about me. Like, I'm like pretty much making the case for myself. Like, I'm a good guy. Like,
you know what
I don't do it.
That was
what?
Pride.
So, and I'm not a prideful guy. I just don't like to admit when I'm wrong. I'm joking. I don't mind that. Too. But I felt like this woman doesn't even recognize that she has a good man. Are we being honest?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? This woman doesn't recognize she has a good man, and then starting to feel like, I like, does she not know like who I am? Does she not know? I can have.
I'm the prize.
I'm the prize, woman. Like, you got it already. What you like? You want more? Like, does this not do it for you? Am I not enough? Right. But it wasn't until I really got to pray. Mm-hmm. Like, after I got through the feelings of it, man, this is good.
Yeah,
this is good.
Thank you.
It's not until I prayed after I got past my feelings, right? Because I wasn't quite mature enough where I could meet my feelings, like in my feelings, go pray about it. So as I got through my feelings, which is a point by itself, you know what I mean? Yes. If we can get there in our feelings, that'll be even better than waiting until after we process our feelings.
Yeah.
We need to get there in them. But I wasn't mature enough yet.
Wow.
So after I got through my feelings, I prayed about it. And after I prayed about it, I'm like, God, look at this woman. Like, she don't appreciate me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, look at what I'm doing. Like, I've been faithful to you. And I'm, you know, I always pray and I cover her and I cover our kids and I teach our kids and I do this, I do that, do that. It's like, I thought God was going to team up with me.
I thought the same.
Yeah. And he's like, you're insecure.
He showed that mirror. He will show you yourself.
It's the worst. It's the best.
It's the best. It don't feel good.
It doesn't feel good, but it's the best thing because he showed me I was insecure. He showed me, which is something that I've never thought that I battled with. Like, I'm absolutely not. No, I'm not insecure. Yeah. I'm pretty confident. But he showed me that I was looking for you to do things that only he could do for me. So me wanting you to affirm, me wanting you to encourage, me wanting you to pat on the back, hey, you're doing a good job. But then for him, like, he's like, no, that's my job. Like, son, you're a good son.
That's not to excuse me from not doing those things. Right. Because that came in the conversation. Yeah. You know?
Yeah. But the reason you do it isn't necessarily because I am such a great man. It's not like you're just chasing oh, girl, you got a good man. You better take care of that man. But what happens when he's not a good man? Right? You do it because God has convicted you about it. Not just because, well, as long as he performed, then I'm going to perform. No, well, when he's not performing, I still need to perform.
I still do it.
You know what I'm saying? Because of that conviction.
Yeah, yeah. So when we finally got to that conversation, I think, well, you know, God had to work on us. But then just acknowledging that, you know, we needed to talk. I don't really remember exactly how that initial, I guess, introduction of it, or us saying like, okay, so
I think we had two different conversations, at least for this particular situation. I believe. I don't think it was the same evening. And I don't think it was for any reason. I don't think that we can't talk about what both of us are dealing with on the same night without giving each other our full attention. But this particular conversation, I think it was two separate ones. The one that I remember was when I was sharing with you, and it was in the evening. And we getting ready to settle down.
Were you
for
like
bed.
hanging on the end of the bed? I think
I was,
and I was in the bed. Okay,
I was,
I think
because
I
was still trying to like process it. So I'm just like, I don't feel like getting in the bed yet. Like, I'm mad at you. I don't want to be in the bed. Like, I don't want this to be a cuddle conversation. I don't want this to be a holding hands conversation, staring into your eyes conversation. Like, babe, I love you, but I'm like, no, I feel distant right now, and so I want to talk to you. I want to hold your hand. I don't want to feel no lovey-doveys. Like, I want to talk to you to make sure I get out what I'm trying to say and what I'm feeling right now.
And I think with you bringing it that way. You didn't say those things directly, but I believe you did set up, I guess, the conversation, because I think sometimes when it comes to hard conversations, like, we don't give attention or energy to making sure that before we even get started,
the approach is the biggest part.
Yes, the approach. And so I think you presented it in a way to where I was able to let my guard down and to really hear your heart. But I think sometimes that approach can, and I think I know I'm guilty of approach, with coming to you and just like not really setting it up in a way where it's
like there's no heads up, there's no buffer, there's no. And so, like, I mean, obviously there's a bunch of things we can go down the line as far as approach, but I think one of the biggest things is just having a set time where both of your minds are clear, where neither one of you are angry or frustrated, where both of us are ready. That means,
to talk. Like we said, letting God work on us separately.
Yeah, and some things, like some things you don't have time to discuss. Some things are kind of heat of the moment. Like, we have to deal with this right now because we don't have time. We're about to go in somewhere. We're about to do something. Or like, we only got a couple minutes, and we need to get to the bottom of this right now. But if at all you can help it, it needs to be a thing where if you're at work, you shoot a text message. Hey, babe, can we talk this evening? But then also securing the conversation before it starts by saying, something like, hey, we're good, but we just need to talk. Or this is what I want to talk to you about. Or, no worries. At least to put them at ease, because one of the worst feelings is like knowing you got to have a hard conversation, but not knowing what turn it's going to take. Like, is divorce going to be thrown out at the end of this talk that we're about to have? Like, are we about to split up? Like, are we breaking up? Like, am I about to be fired from this job after this? Like, let your boss send you a message. We need to talk.
Oh, yeah. You have all the thoughts, all of the questions.
Yeah, I don't know I don't have a category for this. Like, I'm scared. And so but at least to have a heads up so that hey, let me go ahead and clear out all right, no, I can't do it tonight. Hey, tomorrow afternoon, I'm off work. We got time. Let's just sit down and let's talk. You know what I mean? That's what's best. Please share the scripture, because I think it'd be good.
Okay.
I mean, you if you go ahead wherever you was about to go.
Oh, no. I think that was good. Before we get into the scripture, I know we kind of already gave. So what Ty and I we do. We have established what we call rules of engagement when it comes to having a hard conversation, and these are just things that help us to safeguard having those serious conversations, which I feel like has been beneficial for us to be able to have, like you say, we'll send a message, we'll confirm, we'll I guess make sure that we know, okay, we're still good. This is not something that's going to just end in this, but we assure one another like we're good. And what else you want to? For
instance, like it'll be no slamming doors. It'll be
no storming out.
We're not allowed to storm out. We're not allowed to raise our voices. Now sometimes you get passionate, your energy behind what you're saying. But we're not allowed to yell at each other
or call each other out our names, which that's not even us anyway. Not. But
the rules of engagement is that we don't take things that have been shared in confidence and throw it back in each other's face. We don't use things from our families, to try to throw in. Well, your daddy and your mommy and your sister did this, and so blah blah. We don't bring them into it either.
And I think something else, we started to try to reframe our words. We reframe, like, instead of like you did this, no, I felt
this is how
way.
I felt.
Yeah. And this is how, from my perspective, because the minute you try to open that up, like, well, you did this to me, the other person will go on offense.
And because you're putting the responsibility.
Is it offense or defense? I'm sorry.
Both.
both.
They're defending themselves, but then they go on offense and they strike back.
True.
And so it's like you're by you saying you did this, you're putting the responsibility on them to make you happy, right?
Yeah.
As opposed to just saying, this is how what you did.
Instead of being open and honest with how you feel. Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Because you might go out and do the same thing, but if you understand that this is how it makes me feel, at least now I know you're doing it on purpose.
And that is how having a hard conversation, it opens you up to knowing one another on a deeper level.
Absolutely.
And so you know each other. But when it comes to that tension, you know, that iron sharpening iron you're able to overcome that and work through that, then I feel like that's added to more knowledge about that person. Like I know you more. Yeah. I know you more now that we've overcome this thing.
Exactly.
You know?
And when you tell me that something makes you feel a certain kind of way, whether good or bad, it is now my job to take that mental note and to say, okay, moving forward, let me do this because this makes her happy. Let me not do this because this makes her upset. And if it's anything that makes you feel a certain kind of way, but I know that this is just who I am, I've always felt like if this is somebody you love, then whatever makes them sad, that thing is going to jerk at me too. And if I can't be moved by compassion with my own spouse, there's obviously something in me that has been jarred, that's been messed up, or something that I need to pray about and comb through and to figure out, okay, why do I feel some kind of way?
Yeah, it's impossible to know somebody else when you not knowing and learning more about yourself.
Exactly.
And allowing God to reconcile the issues in your own heart.
Exactly.
You know,
there's no way you can look at your spouse bawling, crying, hurting, and you just be like, I mean, it is what it is. Like I can't understand that.
Yeah.
You know,
well, let's go ahead and end on this verse, because you know we got to put some word on it.
Yeah, got to put some word on it.
Even though what's been coming out, you know, has definitely.
And don't y'all dare try to log off on this part right here, because this part good too.
This comes from Proverbs 17:27. Proverbs 17:27, and it says, "The one who has knowledge uses words with restraint, and whoever has understanding is even tempered."
What does that mean to you?
Do I even have to go? But okay, so what I take from it is like,
we just take a couple minutes real
quick. The one who has knowledge, like, we know each other. We're learning. We continue to grow and know each other even more. So, like we said, we're able to then restrain ourselves from reacting a certain way. And then, of course, when it comes to having those hard conversations, you know, just being able to have understanding about one another, it helps to keep us leveled and balanced to where it's not like, okay, this is just going off the cliff. Like, you know, we're pretty balanced in our temperament with one another. You know, not to say that like we have arrived, because I know that there is still always work being done. Right. We're being perfected, but the more that you know, it does help you in your response to your spouse. Yeah.
I mean, I think the more we know each other, the more we understand each other, it absolutely helps us practice restraint. And it's not always restraint as in, I'm going to grab hold of you or you know, physical. I think
the power.
The
power,
because the next verse that comes after that is actually, even a fool appears to be wise when he doesn't open up his mouth or when he doesn't speak. So how much more somebody full of knowledge and understanding, right? How much more should they be able to hold their tongue? Wow. What it's saying is just like, you know, if you keep quiet and you don't say nothing, people going to be like, that's a smart man right there. But you're not keeping your mouth closed because you know them. You're just keeping your mouth closed because you're just like, I'm about to say something dumb, something stupid. Like I'm a fool. But you know, just using that wisdom to be able to have that shut mouth grace.
Yeah, or just even using wisdom to know when it's time to have that hard conversation.
To have that hard conversation.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Well, we thank you all so much for tuning in to this conversation. And we want to hear from you. We want to know if this ministered to your heart. If you got some hard conversations that you need to go have, Ty and I, we're not marriage experts at all. but we do like to just share, you know, from our personal experiences for where we are right now. Yeah. And so if it has resonated with you, please leave a comment. If you're watching on YouTube, shoot us a message on IG. You know, and also we ask that you also share, you know, and let people know about this podcast, this platform. Like, we are here to serve the community by talking about it, you know.
Yep.
And so thank you so much.
We gotta talk about it.
All right, y'all have a wonderful day.
All right.